7 minutes later, I hear crunch, 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 and I
Oh,
hear
man.
grunting. Doe comes flying by me at 8 yards, just below me. I'm hearing this grunting. I'm like, okay, there's going to be a buck. I'm shooting whatever it is. Like spike, fork, 8-pointer, booner, doesn't matter. I'm shooting this thing. This deer comes out broadside at 8 yards. That's the biggest frickin' deer I've ever seen. All I see is a wall
That's
of
huge,
time.
man.
I
Yeah.
just threw up the gun. It was like right there. I shot. I had no idea what I even shot. Like it ran off. All I knew is it was a giant. And I'm like taking a Vone video and I'm sent to the guys like, guys, I just shot my first 160.
Welcome to the next episode of the HUNTXP Podcast. Thanks for joining us tonight. Johnny and I are here. Pretty soon, we're going to have Gabe Denzine on. You have probably maybe seen some of his content, hunting videos. He also works in the hunting industry and represents some cool brands. But we sit down with him and hear some just awesome stories. And we resonate with him a lot because we kind of grew up in the same areas, hunted the same big Northwoods. So we talk about that a little bit, hunting, some of his journey. It's going to be a great episode. Stick around for it. It's awesome. Johnny, how are you doing, man? What's good?
Man, I'm doing good. It's been fun to get back into this, starting with season 2 of HUNTXP. It's been super exciting and just excited for what this season has to hold. I'm also pumped to talk to Gabe, and like you said, his connection to kind of northern Wisconsin, northern Minnesota, Bigwoods type hunting stuff we know a little bit about, and so it'll be fun to chat with him.
100%. You've been gearing up a little bit, been getting some stuff from our partners. So I've got something that I did an unboxing earlier, but I want to talk about these things a little bit. And I've got a present for you, as I like to do. I'm just passing it along, actually, but I'm going to get it out. Our friends at Vantage Point Archery hooked us up. So first of all, got the matching hat with you. I actually...
Sweet.
A couple of weeks ago, we did a live stream unboxing of this stuff, and Bo, who's a fan of the podcast, and your cousin, I posed the question. I said, who should get what color hat? And he suggested that we do a cage match and wrestle for it. I'm like, well, we're both... Johnny's way more fit than me, so that actually wouldn't be that interesting of a way to determine that. It would be over pretty quickly, so I'm just going to give him the black one because I think he'd like that.
Sweet,
so
dude.
there
Thank you.
Got a hat for you, tons of stickers, but really the prize is for me. As you know, we may have talked about this already on the podcast. I am going to switch my bow setup to a heavy arrow setup. And this is kind of the most crucial part of the heavy arrow setup. And VPA, Vantage Point Archery, sent me these for this to be the cornerstone of the heavy arrow setup. And I mean, one look at these 3 blades, you're like that. I mean, I got to do a lot wrong to not kill an animal with these things. They're like so intense. They do it right. It's a cool backstory with Vantage. They're like a machine tool shop, and then they got into broadheads. So these people know their steel, and this is premium steel on these Omegas or the others that I'm going to try here. So these are like, double bevel. These just look really rad. I don't know if you can see those. Those are sweet.
No, those are sweet. Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to have a problem killing animals if I could figure out how to get dialed in on these, but these are high quality. I'm excited for... I just have been hearing from people who shoot these and shoot heavy arrow setups in general, but shoot these in particular, that they're like, the thing went, 15 yards, or the blood trail was just ridiculous. It was like walking in the park. And so I'm going to get out there, have a couple tags to fill, and we'll see how these perform. Pump for it.
Dude, that's exciting.
What
I
do you got, man?
recently got some shipments to my house.
Partners sending you some stuff?
Yeah, our guys over at True Dave, they hooked me up with these black ankle boots.
Hey, those are slick.
Yeah, they are.
Sweet.
And you know, I normally would have went with camo, but I wear these ankle boots so much, the style,
Mm-hmm.
that I wanted a black pair because I wear them like every single day, especially in the winter. And you
Versatile.
know,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So if I want to kind of not give off total hick vibes of camouflage boots, I can wear these black ones and just give partial hick vibes.
They partner well with the date night vests, like you taught us
Dude,
all to do. If you haven't seen that
yeah,
short, one of our
yeah.
best shorts.
That's
Yep.
when we
Good.
say things and we have no idea, but we just say them and then it turns out to be okay. Yeah. The
Totally.
other one I'm excited for too is, we little known fact about us maybe, but we're waterfowl hunters also.
Yes. We don't do enough of that. We're going to try to do more.
Yeah. And True Dave sent me these really nice waders, and obviously you're not gonna be able to see the whole scope of them right now, but
There you
they're
go.
600. Yeah, they're 600 gram. They're insulated. One thing I noticed right away is pockets galore and ammo storage galore, which is if you're a waterfowl hunter, you know how important that is to have your shells easily accessible.
Totally.
They also come with extra belts. So you wear a belt to make them tighter around your waist, but on the belt you can also put these ammo holders, which is great.
That's sick. Yeah.
And last but not least, this waterproof waterproof cell phone case
Locking.
comes with it also. And I think that's really important too, because hopefully it hasn't happened too much in your lifetime, but most of us have gone over our waders duck hunting before, setting decoys or something. I mean, it happens.
They sent me a pair too. I got mine right here. So hopefully we'll get out on the water with these things and test them out. We'll let you know. I think the best thing about these things is the price point, man. They are, as we speak, on sale. So we'll probably have a link in the description if you're looking for some waders. Awesome. It's like $90 when they're on sale and maybe like $120, $150 when they're full price. But check it out. I think for a wader that you can depend on and go out there, that's a great price. And from what we've experienced from True Dave so far, I mean, we're going to put them through the ringer this year. We'll see how long they last and if they hold up. But great price point if you don't want to break the bank. Like me, I'll waterfowl hunt a couple times and maybe do some creek crossings or something if I'm deep on public and I want to put that advantage of like crossing the creek no one else wants to. So seldom use. I don't want to drop a huge chunk of change on a wader, but I want to make sure that they work when I put them on each time in a reasonable amount for what I invested in them. And it seems to be that this is a good option for that. If it's not, we'll let you know. If they break right away, we're just going to be like, they break right away. But that hasn't been the case with the True Dave stuff that we've tested so far. So it's great, dude. I'm pumped for season to start. By the time this episode drops, we're probably really close, maybe already killing some early season goose, some teal, but the season will be shortly upon us. So yeah, man.
Coming fast.
Without further ado, let's get Gabe on the podcast and see what he's got to say and launch into some of the stories he's got for us. Sound good?
Let's do it.
All right, Gabe, you're here. Thanks for joining the HUNTXP Podcast Season 2. We're stoked to have you, man. I want you to introduce yourself by telling us a story. And it's how I discovered you and your YouTube and your content. I want to hear the story of the Minnesota. Was it a 12-pointer that you shot on public land with a shotgun? I want to hear that story. And then we're going to spend some time getting to know you and what you're after and the work you do. But tell us that story.
So do you want like the long story short, or do you want there's a lot of funny details in there that could get a little graphic, but it makes the story all the better. But it depends on what you want to hear.
That version for sure. For sure.
Yeah. All right. So I guess first and foremost, Gabe Denzine, longtime hunter, Wisconsin native. Spent a little bit of time in Missouri, but been in Wisconsin now again the last 4 years. So the deer that he's referring to was once upon a time on some public land in the state of Minnesota, great state of Minnesota. I was on a shotgun hunt with a couple of my buddies, and I had hunted this area for 7 seasons prior to when I shot that buck and never really had any luck. Like there's always good bucks in the area, but it seems, and I tell everybody this when I hunt down there, it seems 1 out of 10 sits I will see deer. The other 9 sits I go deerless. So it's not a very good ratio when it comes to actually punching tags and having enjoyable hunts. But the issue with that is that on that one sit that I do see deer, it always happens to be like some giant or stud or just the deer that keeps you going back. Well, so bring this forward 7 years in, opening day it'd come and go. There's guys all over, and gun season down there on public is just, there's so many people. The pressure is nuts. Like, you're not really hunting natural deer movement during the rut. You're hunting just where deer are getting away from people. I'm notorious for packing in and hunting, whether that's my tree stand system now, or I used to use a climber, and I film all my hunts. So I'm, lugging all this gear. It's always a crapshoot. So what did I do different? Well, I decided that, the only people that shoot big bucks are either women, children, or idiots. So I'm like, well, I'm going to be an idiot today. So I went in, left my stand.
I've never heard that before.
Left my stand. I went in. I'm like, I'm going to sit on the ground with a gun and just walk until I find something cool. So I scouted my way in on Onyx in the dark, blind. And, we are in bluff country. So I sat kind of 3/4 of the way down the hill, or what I thought was 3/4 of the way down the hill. Turned out after it got daylight, or it was just cracking daylight, I realized that I was halfway down the hill. And it was like vertical this way, and it was straight up. It was a steep hill, and it was super thick. Like, I'm like, unless something comes by at 10 yards, like, I'm not shooting it. And I'm watching headlamps just in the bottom of this valley, and I think I counted 16 or 17 of them just all in a line. I'm not going to do anything. So I'm not taking this hunt seriously or whatever. It's like, just wasting time. 9:30 comes around. I got a text from my buddies, and he was sitting up, or I guess 2 of them were sitting up top of the hill. And they're like, yeah, what time do you guys want to get down? I'm like, I don't know. I'll meet you guys up there like 10:30. So I decided, I'm like, well, I'm just going to get to the top of the hill and sit there and wait. So I'm climbing to the top of the hill. Is this the story I told you, to the point where it's like, on the way up to the top of the hill, I get what you call bubble guts, right? Where it's like, got to go to the restroom. Well, guess what? I didn't pack anything. So it's like, I don't have toilet paper. I don't have anything. So I have like Snapchat videos being documented of like, all right, I got to go to the restroom. So I got to, cut up my underwear or whatever. So
oh my gosh.
The next video is me using car keys to cut up. The third video after that is that they were American. So this will tie in. It sounds weird. Trust me, guys. Wait till the end of the story. You'll understand. So they were American Eagle underwear, which they have like an elastic band. Well, being an idiot, I took that band and I wrapped it around my head like Rambo and was taking, Snapchat videos or whatever. I'm like, whatever. So I have a picture of me. I got to the top of the hill and I sat on a stump, and I left my camera in my bag because I'm like, I'm done filming. Like, this is just, I'm waiting until it's time to go meet my buddies and I'm getting out of here. Bandana around my head, took that picture. 7 minutes later, I hear crunch, 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 crunch. And I hear grunting. Doe comes flying by me at 8 yards, just below me. I'm like, I'm hearing this grunting. I'm like, okay, there's going to be a buck. I'm shooting whatever it is. Like spike, fork, 8-pointer, booner, doesn't matter. I'm shooting this thing. This deer comes out broadside at 8 yards. And it's the biggest frickin' deer I've ever seen. All I see is a wall of
huge,
time.
man.
Yeah. I just threw up the gun. It was like right there. I had no idea what I even shot. Like, it ran off. All I knew is it was a giant. And I'm like taking a Vone video, and I'm sent to the guys like, guys, I just shot my first 160, like all jacked up about it. And a buddy showed up, and they thought I was screwing with them because I do that a lot where I'm like, oh yeah, I shot a good one. And it was just a dink. So they're thinking we're trailing this spike, and we all get up to it, and it was the biggest deer I've ever seen, and ended up being 186 inches. And
whoa!
Oh my gosh, dude!
So it netted 173 and 2/8, and so it made Boone, but it was a crazy story. So
isn't that funny how it happens that way sometimes when you're just like
growing up, right? You've always heard the stories of some guy wearing blue jeans that sat on a 5-gallon bucket smoking a cigarette, like that. Those are the guys that shoot big deer. So I went and did something similarly. And
there you go.
No shit, it worked. So
That is
Oh,
awesome.
dude.
and it's just a crazy. That's why all the details are important because everybody. One, I scope myself, so I broke my nose. I don't know if you saw
You
the
actually
pictures and
broke it?
stuff.
I
Yeah,
know
I
that you
broke my nose.
just
Yes,
broke.
that's fine. I can't show you, but
That's
it's
perfect.
sideways. I never got
My
it.
gosh.
But I had people reach out that had been hunting that deer. And that's actually how I
Okay.
met Carson Reeve from Driven TV. And he had met me at one of the Minnesota deer classes. He's like, hey, like, what's your history with that buck? Like, we had been, we had glassed that deer in the summer and, we had kind of been after it, but it went MIA. So, like, where were you, we don't want to know exactly where, but like, how did you hunt that buck? And like, how long did you know it existed? And I'm like, the only history I had was about 8 seconds before I pulled the triggers.
Wow.
You were like, the history was I had to take a dump and I was having a bad morning.
So
My
people
gosh.
hear that story and they get just riled up. Like
Oh, I'm
some
sure.
kid does this, shoots a
Yep.
booner. Meanwhile, they hunt their asses off. And I've been on the other side of this equation before, where like
Yep.
I'll find a good buck and I will hunt my ass off just trying to get this deer, and I
Yep.
never did. So it was just interesting being on the other side of that equation for once.
Dude, that's part of the intrigue of it, though. Every time I take a dump in the woods, I'm like, for that reason, I'm looking around, man. I'm like, maybe.
Well, trust me, it's happened, 150 times more, and I've never shot another one. So it could have just been a fluke.
Yeah.
It's
That's
just
what you live for, though, man. Great story.
so yeah, that's my introduction for that.
It's amazing.
Dude, one of the things you're really good at is storytelling. Obviously, from that story, that was you captured those moments well, and you've made a career out of it as a creative. So, give us a little understanding of yourself and how you got into the storytelling side of things,
Sure.
your camera work, how you made an in an industry, obviously a passion of yours with the number of hours that you've booked in the woods. How did you make the introduction into what you do now?
So I went to school at CBTC, just a tech school down in Eau Claire, for digital marketing. There was one reason why I chose that class, and that's because for one single class during one of 4 semesters was a audio and visual course, which I had filmed hunts in high school, a camcorder, and I had actually shot a bear when I was 15. I taped my iPhone 4 to my stabilizer. And after that, I was hooked.
Wow.
I'm like, I want to film all my hunts. Like, however, but I have like my family's a bunch of blue collar, hicks. Like nobody knows how to run a camera. Like that's not even in there. So I went to school, got that degree with the hope to, come out like a professional cameraman. It wasn't the case. Like I learned how to market and I got acquainted with what a camera is, like how the exposure triangle works and stuff like that. Moved to Missouri after school and I knew I wanted to get in the hunting industry. So I took a job doing marketing for a firearms company out of central Missouri. So outdoor industry, yes, but if this is the outdoor industry, you have hunting on this side and firearms on this side. So the opposite spectrum, but the same industry, and it was kind of my foot in the door. And I think one of the biggest helps is that there's some online groups, that you can be a part of to get in the outdoor industry. One of the ones that helped me out the most, I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's called Servicide. They were based out of PA basically like 10, 15 years ago. It was a group of guys that were really popular for filming their hunts. And since then, they kind of branched off to, instead of filming their hunts, like they wanted to do like an outdoor community where they're hosting events. And they call them hunt links or hunt swaps too, where like if you remember, you could say, hey, I want to trade a whitetail hunt in this state for a turkey hunt in this state or whatever. So I joined the group and I did a hunt swap with a guy from Nebraska. And that guy in Nebraska had also hosted hunters like Muley Freak and Chris B and some of those bigger name people that I watched. And I'm like, okay, so now I'm networking, which is why earlier we had talked about how I think networking is the biggest thing that you could do in this space, because the industry as a whole is not super big, but it is all about who you know. So that was a great connection for me. And like I had got into filming some of my hunts more and more. I got upgraded camera equipment. I finally worked my way to a mirrorless and basically learned what I do now all by myself, right? So I've been now posting to a YouTube channel for a few years, editing videos, editing hunts, so on and so forth. And then a couple years into me living in Missouri, I applied for a job up here in Cumberland to be the brand manager for River's Edge Tree Stands. Got that job, and then one of my goals is to, brand management. There's a lot of marketing, social media involved, but on the other side of it is grow my skills as a videographer. So skills as a videographer, I got to do that and create a bunch of different ad content and work with people in the industry that had TV shows and that did videography for a living. And I just I talked to quite a few people and I just kept practicing at it. And now I'm where I'm at today. Like I own my own media and marketing firm, and I do contract work where whether it's just video creation or I like to take it the extra step now and actually, instead of just delivering a client of mine a video, it's typically they own a business, and my goal is to create them ad pieces that they will then use to get more revenue. And that's kind of my way of getting repeat business. Because if it makes them money and it makes them a lot of money, they're going to keep doing it.
Right.
Did you know that you can use AI to become a better hunter? Here's what you got to do. Our team at HUNTXP has built a custom AI. We call it Crockett. And it is the combination of the power of AI and the collective wisdom of hunters for many years mashed up together and put right in your pocket, right in the field, where you can level up your hunting game. You can ask it things like, what's the best broadhead setup for my situation? What's the best day to hunt this week? All sorts of questions. You can take pictures of the snake you almost stepped on in South Dakota and say, is this a rattlesnake? That's something that actually happened to us. It's super fun. Our community's having a great time building this. We'd love for you to join in at huntxp.com. Join us.
So that's pretty interesting. So you've learned this skill set, you've taught yourself, you've put yourself out there, and that's kind of what has paid dividends for you, your willingness to put yourself out there, make connections.
Yeah.
And then of course you still have to deliver a high quality product, which it seems like you obviously have, and you've made a living doing this contract work along with this brand management for Riverside and whatnot. Am I capturing that?
Yeah, you're fairly close on that. Yeah. So I mean, like a lot of that video work and editing that I do, and it was all self-taught. Like I have hours upon hours of just watching YouTube videos to learn how to do it. And now there's cheat sheets, right? Like if you haven't adapted to AI, I think you're missing something. And it was hard for me because I'm like, I'm not using AI. That's cheating. And now I'm sitting there and I watch I don't know if you guys know who Micah Morgan is. Levi Morgan's brother does all filming and editing for Bow Life, and he, in my opinion, is one of the best. I won't even call him a videographer. The man is a cinematographer. Like the stuff he creates is absolutely magic, and I stalk the shit out of what he does. Like I'll watch some of his videos and be like, that edit's cool. Like I'll link it to ChatGPT and be like, what do you think he did for this edit? And it'll tell me it's like, oh, it's a stop motion, and then like I'll spend time trying to figure out how to do that, so when I go create stuff that I could have some cool edits like that.
I love the story behind how you got into it though. We're all small town guys here. We're all, and the fact that you even described yourself and your family as blue collar Hicks, which we know that. We get it.
Wisconsin, right?
Yeah. And I just think it's really cool that you took something you were excited about and you just made it work, like I think everyone has this. As a high school teacher too, I have kids all the time like, oh, I need to do this, 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 and this to set myself up for this. And yeah, it's true. You want to set yourself up for success. But I think bottom line, and every employer now, especially coming out of COVID, it's like, I just need you to show up and work hard and want to do well. And if it sounds like that's what you've done by yourself, you showed up, you learned the skill all by yourself, and you made it work. And that's amazing.
Yeah, man. Kudos, man. Apologies for the interruption there. I'm back.
No, I saw you come and go, and we just kind of disregarded.
You're like, we'll just keep going.
He didn't even skip a beat. I kind of grinned a little bit, but Gabe was a true professional.
Awesome. Yeah, you're a true professional. You've done this before. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, dude, it's awesome. I think it's one of the reasons we wanted to have you on the pod. You've killed some awesome deer. We've seen your hunts, and it's fantastic. But the work you put into it and how you go about it, I think captured our attention, and I hope you get to do this for a long time because I think that's something you bring to the work. As we've gotten to know more people in the industry, that's part of the fun. Like we can go kill animals, but each of us bring ourselves to the work and the pursuit, and being able to capture that, I think, adds value beyond just tactics and stuff like that.
Yeah, and people also, sorry, to understand that you have to truly enjoy it and love this industry. And like, one of my biggest misconceptions growing up is that, people got paid to hunt. I'm looking at TV guys and I'm like, oh, they're getting paid to go hunt. That's not the case. Like nobody in this industry gets paid to literally go hunt. Like there's some form of deliverables, there's some form of advertising or product placement or something that you have to do. And that's always just, I wanted to say that because most people never get to hear that. They just think that, oh yeah, I want to go get paid to shoot big bucks, which that's kind of, but not quite.
Yeah. Well, I've heard that, and most of the stories I've heard, people have worked at it, their passion has come through, and they've figured out a way to monetize it to enough to keep it going. And but most people just point blank said, you're not going to make money. Just no one's going to pay you to sit out there. Like no one's going to do that.
You have to give somebody something for, in order, like YouTube revenue, sure, but it'll only get you so far because you still have to edit, if you're not paying somebody to film you or edit your videos, or if you want sponsors, guess what? I sponsor people on the River's Edge tree stands or the nested tree stand side of things. And I sign contracts with a lot of people and they have a list of like, hey, you got to do X, Y, and Z for me. Or
Yep. One of the things that you've been transparent with and that I've really appreciated is your journey with Tourette's. And if it's okay for us to talk about that, I just really admire you being transparent with that and leaning into it and it becoming a part of who you are in the work that you do. Could you talk to us a little bit about that and how you came to your posture around that and how it informs how you go about what you do?
Yeah, so I really embrace it and kind of laugh about it now, and not so much when I was younger, right? So it's genetic. My uncle has a mild case, a little different than mine. And growing up, like I always knew I was different, but like it was trying to hard, my mom trying to figure out like what the hell is wrong with this kid? Why is he barking like a dog? Like we gotta, and nobody knows. So like they took me in and they're like, oh yeah, like he's got tics, and they're like, oh, as it goes away, will that go away? And the doctor's like, no, he's got a mild case of Tourette's. Like this is here to stay. Like you can manage it. You try to manage it by, basically what Tourette's is. I'll just start with that, right? It's a chemical imbalance in the brain that causes you to either it's like impulsivity, like you say something or it's an eye movement or something that is like a twitch, if that makes sense. And mine have developed into a bunch of different things over time. Like one year it's a word, the next year it's a movement, like it just changes. But when you bring that into not only just deer hunting, but trying to film and be a professional video guy when you're worried about audio or, the camera needs to be steady, right? You know how many reshoots I've had to do because I'm like, hey guys, the shot, like everything you guys did was really good, but I'm sitting over here doing this. I'm like, we got to redo it. Like it just, it sucks. And then you're talking animals that in order to kill deer, you're supposed to do what? Like two things. You're supposed to shut up and not move, right? That's what grandpa and that's what dad always said. Now try having Tourette's. That makes
Seriously, man.
Especially
that's
when
what's remarkable about it. It's awesome. Yeah.
They're almost flared up by like anxiety or high stress situations.
Yeah.
If I get super anxious, they get worse. So imagine, a big deer showing up and you're watching it from 100 yards away in like a soybean field working his way this way, like giving you time to think about it. Oh, that's the worst. And it gets in your head. Like you thought you had buck fever, try having buck fever while you have an endless twitch.
Wow, dude.
But I'm able to get around it because I've shot deer. I haven't shot too many giants, but I have shot a fair amount of bucks that I'm, really proud of. And it's just an interesting thing. And the crazier thing is after the harvest or after the shot is made, like I come unglued. And some of that footage is the best. Like for the longest time of me, I've been editing my own YouTube videos since 2018. And a lot of the times I would cut out quite a bit of footage of the hunt just because I'm like, I look like a train wreck. I'm not going to put myself out there like that.
Mm.
And it got to the point where early last year, or maybe the year prior, I'm like, I'm tired of editing my stuff and losing it, because there's honestly some of what like the best content I feel, the most emotional, raw stuff is during like my tick meltdowns or whatever. And I'm like, you know, like I'm tired of avoiding it. Like, let's just not edit it. Let's leave it in there and see what happens. And I had one video on TikTok go crazy viral where people are like, you know, we're super supportive. You know, obviously I got roasted a little bit in the comments where people are like, oh, look at that dude. But, like, it is what it is. Like, I grew up with it. I'm so used to it now, and it makes me unique, I guess.
One of the moments that I appreciated was, I think it was last year, you shot a nice buck in Wisconsin, and you've got yourself on camera calling your dad, and you're having ticks. And I'm like, this is better than the kill, because this guy is feeling those emotions I felt before and has a generational connection with his dad, who I'm just filling in the story, but has supported this passion, maybe even passed it down to you. And those moments are gold for me. Like, yeah, cool kill shots are great, but like you authentically coming through and sharing that moment with your dad and unedited who you are, that was awesome. So I'm pro the new edits, man. Yeah.
And it's honestly, I made that a staple for me. Like, regardless of it's on camera or not, my dad, until the day that I can't, he will be the first person I call every time I shoot a deer. Doesn't matter. I'm like, until the day that I can't, I will call his voicemail and leave a message.
Yeah.
That's fantastic, dude. So can I dig just a little bit deeper here? And I'm just curious, you have built up this tremendous resilience and self-esteem to carry yourself authentically in an industry that's kind of like every sport, like it's kind of just part and parlance to like jeer at each other, make fun. It kind of becomes like a, you know, manhood measuring contest. And yet you have just said, hey, this is who I am. You can make fun of me if you want. I'm used to it. I've taken it my whole life. And getting support. So talk to like, how did you do that? How did you enter into an industry that's kind of like part of, call it bar talk, deer camp talk, whatever?
My chips are a little different than what most people would be dealt. And what I mean by that is, so I have Gabe Denzine with Hunting with Tourette's that has a YouTube channel that would be considered, you know, whatever you want to call it, influencer or whatever. But then you have Gabe Denzine, business professional, brand manager, right? The person that hands out, you know, sometimes well-paying contracts to TV shows or YouTubers. I've been handed a lot of respect from people, not necessarily just for me as a person, but because of the role I hold. And sometimes it's a little bit of brown nosing, and I don't respect it that much. But you know, I've never really had anybody that's gonna, you know, try to throw shade at me or whatever in this industry just because there's a chance that, you know, if they hit rock bottom and they're like, oh, I need a tree stand partner, they're gonna hit me up, and you know, hopefully they didn't piss me off in the past, because otherwise they're not gonna get a call back. So there's a little bit of flawed results there, and I believe that's why, if we're being completely honest. But otherwise, I don't know. There's the thing about being genuine, right? Like, treat people the way you want to be treated. I'm sure you teach your kids that all the time. Like, that's the golden rule from when you're 5 years old. It never goes away. It should never go away.
Appreciate that, dude. Let's
I
talk.
have I got a logistical question first. And maybe people listening might think the same thing. Gabe, what is it like when you're trying to settle the crosshairs or settle a pin? It's hard enough, like you said, when you have just buck fever in general, and you know, people they do psychological studies and everything on how to settle yourself before the shot. What is that like for you when you had said that your Tourette's ramps up a bit in those anxiety situations? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm actually still trying to figure it out.
Okay.
It changes, right? Like, I've been the first part of establishing or the first step in fixing a problem is just admitting that there is one, and that's across the board with everything, right? So I've had target panic, whether it's with a gun or a bow, right? Like just growing up, I knew I had it. And I think my Tourette's could play a part of that, right? Where it's like you're trying to get locked in and like you deal with a brain that like impulsively tells you like, do it, do it, do it, do it. And you're trying not to do it. So like, I've had a lot of struggle growing up shooting bow because it's like, I know I don't want to, I'm not ready to shoot yet. And next thing you know, my arrow's flying in the target. And it's like, dang it, we're starting over. In the last couple of years, I think I'm so self-aware, like where I think about it a lot. I've really done a lot better of being like in the moment, just breathe, like fight past the urge, calm down, and just squeeze. The last 2 years for sure, it's been so much better for me where I think I just know that I need to lock in for about 3 seconds. That's all I need. I'm like, if I can get through 3 seconds where I'm not breathing, I'm not thinking, all I am is focusing on a pin or a target, and I can get through a release. After that, it doesn't matter. I don't need to watch a deer run. I can, go crazy. Like I need to lock in for about 3 seconds.
It reminds me of John Eberhart. He has a tremor in his hand. And so he actually shoots 3-fingered leather release. He doesn't do any other release. And that dude has, what was it, 57 book bucks? And he has a hand tremor. And so it's like, if the passion is there, you will, and the willpower, like you'll work to figure it out. And that's just a testament to everyone. You kind of got to figure out what the obstacle is, and it can become an opportunity, I think. It's great stuff. Let's talk Bigwoods, whitetails. We all have experience in northern Wisconsin in those terrains. What have you learned, and what do you think's different that people just don't get from other parts of the country about chasing whitetails where we're from?
I love that question because it doesn't. Hunting bigwoods whitetails, whether it's northern Minnesota, the UP of Michigan, or northern Wisconsin, does not get the credit that I think it deserves. Now, where I'll bring this to is just to level the playing field. I don't know if you got people from just the Midwest or if you get listeners from all over, I'll kind of bridge this gap. Wisconsin is one of those states where it's hunting culture, right? We have the 5th largest army or whatever. We have over 600,000 licensed gun deer hunters in the state of Wisconsin. And it's an insane amount. And typically the tradition is you always have deer camp up north. Like that opening weekend of gun season is damn near a national holiday in this state. Where I talked to my wife about this not too long ago. We were just talking about like, if we ever have kids, like you're gonna let them take off for deer season. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, my school had forms that you would get signed by your parents where it was like, are you gonna take off the Monday and Tuesday during Thanksgiving week for the deer season? And my dad would also put on there like, he's off the Friday before too, because we got to run up north and toss out bait, like we got to go get everything settled up and ready to go. And it's just such a crazy cultural thing. But sadly the deer hunting's changed, right? So I started deer hunting in 2010, maybe it was 2009, I don't know, I was 10 years old. And my parents and my grandparents actually bought a cabin in Price County. So just outside of Prentice, which is Bigwood stuff. It was at the end of a dead end road where we had a couple 100 acres, but was surrounded by Chequamegon National Forest, which is some of the biggest, scariest woods you could really get, while you're 10 years old to hunt, right? You're worried about bears, you got wolves, you got, endless monsters in the dark, whatever. There's no farm country. Like I think we had a 20-acre field that was pretty much a food plot just on the land itself. And there was always deer just because I think they'd flock for miles because there was no other food source. Like the deer up there are just living off browse, whatever natural acorns or whatever they can find. Like they're not eating soybeans, they're not eating corn, they're not coming to food plots because it's just natural vegetation. It's hard. So the other thing is, I don't know if you guys have stories from whether it's you guys or your parents, like it seems like in northern Wisconsin the hunting was absolutely amazing, late 90s, early 2000s. A lot of guys are killing really nice deer, 140s, 150s, and they're seeing lots of deer. And at some point after like 2012, 2013, I know we had a really bad winter with snow in 2013. chunk of the deer population kind of went downhill. And then there's a lot of factors. God, I've talked about this a lot before. Where basically, if you're local up there, I think most people would admit the deer population up there is not what it was.
Mm-hmm.
To what the reasoning is, that's up for you to have an opinion on. Some people blame wolves, some people blame harsh winters. Me, I think there's a lot more than that just involved with, family farms aren't quite a big thing anymore. 20 years ago, everybody seemed to have their own family farm, and they'd have hay or they'd have corn to turn into silage. Now
Yeah.
there's not so much family farming practices, so you take that food source out of it. You're still dealing with crazy harsh winters. You have predators, plus you can't really get doe tags up there anymore. So a lot of the older generation seems to, well, if I can't get my meat from a doe, I'm going to shoot the first thing that walks out. So you're almost, if you're a trophy hunter or you're a wannabe, that's what I consider myself. I'm a wannabe trophy hunter. I always have the aspirations to shoot a big buck, but I'm not always going to shoot. Like if I have a 2-year-old and it's like, mid-November, and I'm like, you know what? I want to fill my tag and be done. I'm going to do it just because I like to kill stuff.
100%.
So, but if you're a wannabe big buck hunter, like these guys down in Iowa, Missouri, or Kentucky, like that part of the states, I think they would hate hunting up by us just because that caliber of deer that they're after, if they're passing 140s to shoot 150s, you know how hard it is to find a 150 north of Highway 8?
Yeah.
Very challenging. We've talked about this before, and Johnny lives and breathes this stuff. So yeah, what are your thoughts, Johnny?
Well, first of all, I'm going to talk about the school thing. We finally got smart because when we were growing up, you had to send in a form, and I could never do it because I was in basketball because you had to be there for practice, and I could never take those days off. But there would be no one at the school except for the student athletes because they had to be there. So our school district finally got smart, and they said that whole week we're not having school.
Yep.
Yeah.
We don't even have school anymore during hunting season. It's not even called like Thanksgiving break. It's hunting season.
Oh, perfect.
So they don't even try to hide it. It's just hunting season.
Just like I know they're like, we know if we have school, no one will be here because everyone's at deer camp, which is a beautiful thing, in my opinion. Now, what you said about, people would be frustrated if a trophy hunter per se. I'm the same way where I'm like, a lot of guys in my family, we've been successful, and we lived through, I'm 37 now. So we lived through those. We were just coming up in hunting when the hunting was really, really good, like really big bucks. You could pass up deer. Even I remember as like a 13-year-old, I was passing up like 2.5-year-old deer because I was like, I know there's a bigger one. And you would see tons of deer most sits. I remember sitting there one time counting, and I saw like 24 deer in one sit. And I was like, now I'm lucky if I see that in a season, the whole season, rifle or bow. But all that to be said, I think it's comparable. And man, I hope we wouldn't get roasted for this, but like a 3.5-year-old buck in north of Highway 8, that's like a trophy buck. Like,
no, it is. I've made that comparison a bunch. I'm like,
it's difficult to shoot.
Hard to score inches too, because I've seen some really mature deer. Not, like what I would consider if they were to get aged, I bet they'd be 4.5 years old. Come out of northern Price County where there's no farmland around, and they still only score like 135 inches. Like they'll get really massy, but they get no tine length. They're really dark racks from rubbing on tamaracks. So the nutrition's not there. My big thing about hunting bigwoods in northern Wisconsin is you have all elements against you, right? So what do we have that southern states that are just big buck factories don't have? 1 is predation. 2 is the amount of hunters. 3 is the duration and severity of the winter. 4 is amount of food. And you put all those factors with each other, like how many strikes can you have going against, like, this is the strike against producing a big buck. Like you're already at 4 of them.
Yeah.
It's super hard. And the worst thing is that a mature buck is lightest after he's done rutting, correct? Like he spends all end of October, all of November chasing, running his literal tail off to breed does. So they lose 20, 30 pounds or whatever it is over that month duration. So the most important time for a deer to get healthy is that month of December and early January. Well, guess what? When do we get our worst weather of the year?
Yeah.
I mean, it just gets cold and it gets lots of snow and the food's gone. It's like, it's hard for a lot of these big bucks to recoup their body weight, which they're in. I mean, that carries on all the way up and through March and April, right? So if you get through March and April and some of these deer, like, okay, cool, you're a big buck, but you made it. You didn't die, but you're not 100%. It's not like you have a healthy layer of fat. So during the springtime, when you're eating, all the nutrients and everything you're eating is going into building back muscle mass and fat. Versus in other states where a whitetail already has all that body mass and fat, that's going straight to antlers.
Yeah.
And this
Right,
is what
right.
people
Yep.
don't realize. Like, I wish I had a bunch of scientifical stats right now to spit at you guys.
No, that's a
But
super smart take.
logically, I promise you that it's about what it is.
No,
Yeah,
that's very insightful for sure.
totally, man.
But it's also hard when you want to talk the hunting aspect, right? So I'll compare it just because most of our listeners, they either hunt big woods or they hunt farm country. Why is farm country easier? Because it's more predictable, in my opinion.
Mhm.
When you go out and you hunt, like I hunted Kansas this last year, I drew a tag. No, I didn't kill one, but I did pass, a fair amount of deer. So I'm, like I had opportunities. You're hunting draws, right? If you're in a tree stand, you're hunting draws. Now think about it. Where else are the deer going to go? If they're not in the grass, like they're going to come through a natural funnel and it's like you can shoot 40 yards. Like if a deer's going to come through the woods, I got a shot at him. Versus big woods, where you might only be able to see 40 yards, but you have 3 square miles of woods where the terrain's not really different, whether it's pothole swamps and, oak ridges that might change 10, 15 feet in elevation. It's really hard to kind of, narrow down where a buck beds, where a buck is going to eat, because I don't think it's super consistent. Like, I think a lot of
Right.
these change where they're bedding all of the time based
Yep.
on wind direction, or you get, in your case, like up there, like you might be zoned in, finally you find buck bedding. Guess what? You get a pack of wolves that moves in, it screws everything up for the next 30 days. Like,
Totally.
Yep.
so
Yep.
there's just too many damn factors that makes it's almost random when you kill a big deer up there.
I like this. Gabe gets it. He understands. He
Yes.
gets it.
He
I've
does.
dealt with it and I've watched it, get worse. One of the first deer I ever shot was on my land in Price County. It was a spike buck at 10 yards. In that spot, there's always bucks there. The problem is like we'd have 2.5-year-olds. And then we're like, okay, we're going to let these deer go because next year they'll be 3.5. We get there next year, guess what? Still 2.5-year-olds. And we're like, where are these bigger bucks? It's like they either disappear, they die, no idea. And I'm not trying to say to the viewers that there aren't big bucks. I would just say that for every, 150 that there is in Iowa, there's, maybe a 120, in the Northwoods. And it's probably not even that. I feel like it's like 1 out of 10 deer in northern Wisconsin make it to 3.5 years old.
That sounds about right.
It's tough.
It's my
It's
opinion.
really
I don't
tough.
have any stats on that, but I would think most people would agree with me when I give that
Yep.
stat.
And it's also true when you find a decent buck, private land, public land. And as you alluded to, the amount of hunters, there's tons of people who know about that buck who are after that buck. That's just a reality.
It's
Yeah.
everybody hunts. I know more people that hunt than people that don't, which is crazy because
Right.
any other state you'd be like, oh yeah, like I'm a hunter, and it's like, oh really? You're like, that's what you do, and it's weird to people. Up here, it's like,
Right.
wait, you don't hunt? Like, who are
Yeah.
you?
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Go backwards.
I tell you, the people who have been able to be consistent in the Northwoods are starting to get into management, like land management, and trying to eliminate some of those check boxes that are against you in the Northwoods. And there's certainly consistency that they're cranking out, but a ton of investment. I mean, a ton.
Correct, right?
Most of
it's
it,
a lot of work and money.
yeah, that is inaccessible for most folks because of time or resource. And so, like, we're just like, man, it's just shoot the 2.5-year-old if you get the opportunity. Like, if I'm coaching someone who's getting into hunting, like if you get an opportunity at that, don't take it and enjoy and savor the opportunity. And then like go kill a huge, 150 in another state if you get the opportunity,
Yeah,
but
that's just it. My biggest preach for that is I tell people all the time, because I've got made fun of for shooting small deer when I was younger. Now nobody can really say shit because it's like I've shot spikes and I've shot booners, so like there's nothing left for me other than I just want to hunt and kill what I want to kill.
yeah,
So
it's a
that
good
does
place to
help,
be.
but it's like you cannot shoot what's not there. And I
Yeah.
preach this rule to people all the time because they're like, well, like all I get is, 120s on camera and I'm, burn tag year after year just waiting for the 150. And I'm like, if you want to, that's fine. Like if you solely want to
Yeah.
just wait and burn tag after tag, go for it. But my advice is that there's not 150s under every rock or in, every 40 acres. They're very rare, even places that aren't northern Wisconsin. I mean, let's be real. Like a 150 is a pretty good buck anywhere you go, but
Yeah.
especially for our neck of the woods, like you cannot hunt what doesn't exist. So if you know that, these caliber of deer are what you got, be happy and take one.
Yeah. It's a
And
good
I think
word, man.
too, the old adage of just, shoot what makes you happy, right? And
Yeah.
that, for me, honestly, that changes like day to day. If you
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
like, there's days where, I mean, most seasons I'm trying to hold out for a 3.5-year-old if I can, right?
Yep.
But
Yeah.
but there's times where I'm like, it's been a long season, and that 2.5-year-old, or hey, that basket little 6-pointer, he's looking
Mhm.
really good, and my freezer's a little low, and I'm gonna wax him.
Yep.
Yep.
That's what I did November 1st this year. I sat in a tree and I was thinking about it. And I'm like, when's the last time I punched a Wisconsin buck archery tag? And I
Yeah.
did the math. I'm like, it was 2017. And it's
Wow.
2024. I'm like, you're telling me I've burned my tag the last 7 years? And
Yeah.
I
Wow.
rattled in and this little basket 8-pointer came out. And I'm like, the film's good. I'm out here on public by myself. Like the story's good. Like I just want to shoot a deer to know I still got it. And I freaking pinwheeled it. I watched him fall and I'm like, I don't care. I'm like everything about it. Like I
Yeah.
composed
Yeah.
myself. It was good.
That's awesome.
I got one more question for you. If Johnny's got more, we can go there. And if there's anything else you want to add or share with us about
Sure.
what you get to do or anything you want to tell us about coming out. You skirted around this. You mentioned that kind of hunting culture is changing a little bit. Maybe I'm reading into this, but maybe part of that was that hunting camps are dissipating a little bit, or that tradition. What do you think's happening? Not just necessarily diagnosis of what's happening, but what would you like to see in the future? This is your industry. You're putting kind of your life work into this. Part of why we do this at HUNTXP is we want to build community around hunting. We're training our kids to hunt now. And I'm just curious what you would like to see happen in hunting in general in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and beyond. What would you like to see?
Sure. I mean, I'll kind of answer this in two parts. For the Wisconsin aspect, I'd love for the tradition to go back. I mean, I think there's a lot of people now, like, my family cabin's gone. It got sold. We don't have a deer camp anymore. That's happened 3 years ago. I think there's a big portion of those guys that had done it for so long, and they're just discouraged with how the deer hunting turned out, where they just don't go anymore.
Mm.
In the future, I think if you educate people and talk about land management practices, and maybe you can convince counties to, do better logging management, or the DNR to implement, better management practices. Granted, they need the budget for it. To help improve some of these public lands or whatever, just to help the deer population come back. I think my generation will probably be the one to, you look at this like a bell curve, right? So early 2000s, deer hunting peak, northern Wisconsin. Right now, I would say it's at the lowest it's been in the last 20 years. Hopefully, bell curve again comes back up, in 20 some years with my generation, but who knows? Sorry. Well,
I think
general,
you're right though that the deer camp tradition, a lot of it has gone away, and I've heard it not just from you right now, but that's because people have been frustrated. They're like, I'm not going to travel up north or wherever I'm located or come from out of state and sit
Yep.
and not see a deer. Like I'm not going to do that anymore. It's
Yep.
a waste of my resource if I'm not, so I think a lot of those have dissipated because of that reason.
And I'm hoping after a few years, like I said, think bell curves. It's no different than like a housing market or stock market. Think the same way for this. So you're going to go through a 5, maybe 10-year stretch where people aren't doing deer camps because they're trying to find bigger, better hunting somewhere else. At some point, the nostalgia and the memories kick in where people are like, I want to experience, that again. Or I have, I got 9-year-olds and 10-year-olds coming up that are going to start hunting. Like, I want them to feel what I felt.
Yeah.
So let's get the boys together. Let's start a deer camp. Like, I think honestly, that's probably the direction it would go, which I hope so. But that's, like you said, up to guys like you and me to kind of plant that seed and go forth with that. Now for hunting in, just in general, I have a mixed opinion on this for many reasons, right? So my goal as a person, especially as a brand manager, is to grow the amount of hunters we have. Statistically speaking, we are having less hunters by licenses every year. However, from a public land perspective, man, I wish there was less people in the woods. It seems like every time I get to the parking lot, there's, or I leave the parking lot, there's always way more vehicles than I can remember. But there's more factors to that where sure there's less hunters, but I think the density of hunters on public land is increasing because the people that we are encouraging to try and deer hunt are people that don't have places. And then just with the way things are going, like land's worth money. People didn't know that 20 years ago. Like when I started hunting, I could door knock and I'd get permission damn near anywhere I wanted to go hunt. I'd say, hey, like, do you mind if I bow hunt? They'd be like, oh, sure, Gabe, you're good to go. Now it's like, well, how much is it worth to you? And you have a bunch of guys that have pockets and they're like, I'm going to lease that. I'm going to lease that. I'm going to lease that or buy that or whatever it is. So you have people and families that have lost their family farms or lost their permission pieces where now their only place to go is the little amounts of public land that we have in the southern portion of the state. Still, I would say there's still plenty of room north of Highway 8 if you really like. There's a lot of big woods, but it's not desirable, right? So the desirable places to hunt are really getting cram-packed with people, and that's also discouraging. Where I think guys are going to try it for a couple of years, and they're going to be like, I'm tired of seeing more people than deer every time I go hunt, so I'm just going to be done hunting. So with that, I don't necessarily know where that ends up other than we need to make sure that we keep as much available public land as we possibly can because it's a very important thing.
100%. I was just talking with Walt from Southern Collective and he's like, you don't know how good you have it up there. Everything is leased down here. Like the amount of public land we have is so minimal. The whole deer camp culture thing is gone down here. Like it's not a thing. And so I think people who grew up with that, like us, often take that for granted and take that culture for granted. And he's like, you guys are 15 years away from everything being leased, and it just shrinking and shrinking. So I think there's some work that we have to do to not only promote the sport, be generous in taking people out and sharing the craft like we're doing. And also, like you said, protect public lands and try to preserve a bit of that heritage because the less we're out in the woods, the less influence that we have as a collective to maintain those things. And they'll go by the wayside quickly. So, yeah, I hope we're on the bottom of the bell curve, but there are some, factors and trends in different areas that aren't great.
No, and it's just, it's going against the working man, right? So if you're an investor and you got a bunch of money, like none of this bothers you, right? Because you just buy it, you can pay for it. Like, and sadly, I always had the notion, the last 6 years, because I've had such good luck with permission pieces, is that I will never pay for ground to hunt a whitetail until this year. With where I work and the people I know in this industry that are on the flip side, not knocking them, but they're the guys that are driving up land prices and the guys that are leasing up as the amount of properties that they can. It's sad that I even say this, but it's almost like if you can't beat them, like join it type deal where I'm like, I honestly I will still hunt public when I go out of state and I'll probably still hunt public here, but damn it, it would be nice if I just had my own home turf. So I'm like, what is it worth? I found a guy that I had permission on the last couple of years and I'm like, hey, like, just so I can keep this, would you mind if I paid you for it? He's just like, yeah, you know what? That would be so. And it was a really good deal. I didn't overpay on it. It was really cheap, but I'm like, I'm trying to think long term here. Like,
Yeah.
You know, if I have a relationship right now with this landowner, and he's a younger landowner, so it's not, you know, a lot of my permission pieces growing up were the baby boomer generation that were 70, 80
Mm-hmm.
years old, that sadly, guess what, guys? In 10 years, they're not going to be around.
Right.
And that land gets passed down to kids who understand the value that we don't have to let people do this for free. Like, we're
Yeah.
going to charge people to do it. So I'm in
Mhm.
my head, like, trying to get ahead of it. So it's like, if I can work on this piece, and this is maybe a piece that I could lease for the next decade or whatever, and maybe he'd sell it to me one day if I have a really good relationship. I'm just going to lock it down now and, you know, see what
Yeah.
happens. So.
I get that. Gabe, this has been awesome. Johnny, you got any more questions? Or Gabe, there anything else you want to let our listeners know about that you're working on, things to look forward to?
Yeah, I'll be I don't know, I'll be in North Dakota next week, season opens. So I
Sweet.
decided I was going to buy a tag and go do some hanging and banging on public out there. And, you know, I really thought this was the year that I was going to take the first week of September off. Seems like the last 4 years, I'm either out west chasing mule deer, or I'm, you know, in North Dakota chasing whitetails. And I'm like, nope, this is the year I'm going to spend Labor Day weekend catching walleyes. Nope, back out there. So I guess not.
Good for you. That's awesome. I
That's
don't
crazy.
have any more questions, but man, Gabe, it's been so fun to get to know you, and
Yeah, this was
Appreciate it, man.
a good time. I love
holy
doing this
smokes.
type of stuff. Like
Yeah,
I said,
super fun.
especially with guys that you can relate to. You're from the same
Yeah.
area. They seem to share the same opinions, and you almost look for someone to be like, "This is how I think," but I want somebody else to, like, you know,
Yeah, right.
get that.
Yeah.
And
So good, man. Well, thanks again, Gabe. Appreciate your time. It's been awesome.
yeah, no problem. Thanks, guys.
Behind the scenes bonus banter.
Dude, this is so cool. This is fun. You're probably like, who is this random dude who like accosts me at trade shows and says, I know you, come on my podcast. And although it sounds
Whatever
like you
works.
get that a lot. So
I talk to a lot of people. I seem to always, I never fray away from trying to grow my network in the outdoor space for some reason.
yeah,
And that's,
yeah,
I think a lot of people should be open to that. Like, if you're passionate about the hunting industry or just hunting in general, growing your network is the biggest and best thing you could do.
yeah. I don't know what Johnny would say, but part of our reflection, because we started this a year ago, and
Mhm.
part of the surprising thing for us was just the fun of building our network and meeting people. You know,
Yeah.
we've learned a ton of cool stuff, but that's the best part for sure.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I'd agree 100%. Just the people that we've met and you've talked to, like in a podcast setting like this or whatever, and now it's like I feel comfortable texting you. If I was out of state, I would feel comfortable like in the state that person's in, I'd feel comfortable texting you. Not to mention, like, we've just got to experience some really cool stuff and hear some cool stories. So it's been great.
Absolutely.
Johnny, why don't you give them the bio for you?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm Johnny. JD and I grew up together. Hunting and outdoors has been a huge part of our lives, my life, forever. I think we both really come from rich, like, deer camp tradition in up northern Wisconsin, and value kind of trying to build and facilitate that. But personally, I'm a Phi Ed teacher at Ashland High School. Girls soccer coach there. Got 3 kids, wonderful wife, and yeah, life is good. Having fun doing this too.
There you go. So Wisconsin boy, Ashland. You can't
Yeah.
get much further north than that.
You
Not
can't
much.
Not in this state.
No.
Not in
literally.
this-
Yeah. Where are you at, Gabe? We were trying to. I have Rice Lake in my mind. Is that even?
I'm in
close,
Rice
or-
Lake. Yep.
There you go. Okay, sweet.
So I'm about
So,
an hour and a half.
Gabe, our girls soccer programs are like mortal enemies. Like, we face off to go to state most years.
Oh, really? I guess I haven't even paid attention, but
No,
my
that's
wife is
okay.
a huge soccer person, and she's from Kentucky originally, and, you know, we moved up here a couple years ago, and she's looking for extra curricular or whatever things to do, and she was like, yeah, maybe I should start coaching girls soccer. I'm like, you do whatever you want to do. So
Yeah. No,
Do
it's
it.
great. No, our program and their program in northern Wisconsin has been pretty successful for our division. We've both made several state appearances, which has been cool.
Rice Lake seems to be good at damn near everything. I feel like they go to
They
state for
are.
hockey. They go
Yeah,
to
they
state for
won.
football. They go
Yeah.
to like I don't think they went for basketball, but I thought they were close. I'm like,
They've gone several times for boys. They went this year for girl. I'm just a kind of a sports fanatic, and I work in a high school. So
sure.
Rice Lake comes to us and just kicks our butt in most things, minus like baseball and girls soccer. Although they did beat us this year. They they go to state and they win. I don't know what the formula is there, or if it's just proximity to larger areas, but they're still relatively small, so they kind of dominate that division. No, Rice Lake is a powerhouse.
Yeah, it's so weird because that was me and my wife lived completely different lives, right? So I grew up in Stanley, which is a small town on Highway 29 between Wausau and Eau Claire. And like everybody pretty much worked on a farm, and like you played 3 sports a year if you wanted to play sports. Nobody was ever really planning on like, oh, I'm going to go to college and play sports. It was just something you did to pass the time, right? Like either your friends are in football, so you play football. Your friends are in wrestling, so you wrestle. Like, you know, that's what you do. She's from Lexington, Kentucky, which is a pretty big town. And she was soccer, she said, year round. It was just like, if it wasn't during school season, it was club league, and then it was traveling team. And I'm like, that was so foreign to me. And she was worried that, you know, moving up here, she's like, well, if our kids ever get in sports, like there's no hope for them to, you know, ever play college sports because sports aren't a big deal. And I'm like, I don't know. Rice Lake seems to be really good at sending athletes off to school.
Rice Lake sends a ton. I mean, we're talking D1 also. Like I'm from Ashland. I played on a full ride Division II for soccer, and we send kids, but like Rice Lake really sends kids. So you're in a great spot, actually.
Well, that's what I was trying to tell her. So good.
There you go.
And you are from Stillwater? Is that what you said?
No, I'm in Minneapolis now.
Okay.
But grew up in Ashland partially, and
gotcha.
Yeah, so I hunt in Minnesota and Wisconsin, and Johnny and I came up together, and this has been a way to reconnect. We have always stayed connected, but it's been fun to do this more now that we have families. And
well, then I'm interested to chat with you guys. I do a lot of podcasts, but I never get to talk to people that hunt Bigwoods. And if you're from Ashland, Wisconsin, you know all about hunting the Chequamegon National Forest.
Yeah.
Sure do. Yep.
Nobody else can relate to that. They're always like, oh, I hunt farm country, and I got, you know, I'm trying to figure out if I want to go soybeans or
it's so different, isn't it? Yeah.
Like if you trying to find a decent buck in tag alder swamps.
Right. Yeah. Or find the oak tree that's actually shedding at the particular time, or you know.
Yeah, or just it's Bigwoods is so different. I could talk all day about it. It's just, and I've done both. I lived in Missouri for 4 years hunting farm country, and I thought it was so easy compared to even like the Blue Hills between me and you. Like it's still Bigwoods. You got a lot more factors, and we can dive into that whenever you guys want to.
Love it, man. And yes, that's my kids in the background. I think they're still alive. We have technology to hopefully get them out of the background. This recording, we typically record past bedtime when this isn't a factor, but
sure.
It's like they know what's going on today. So I'm actually just going to go have a talk with them, and then we'll jump in. Okay. I'll be right back. All right. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's dive into this.
Let's do it, man.
Hey there. Thanks for watching this video. I'm JD, founder and crew member of the HUNTXP team. We're so grateful that you took time to watch this video, and hopefully it's helping you level up your hunting game. That's what we in our community is all about, and we want to invite you into this growing community of hunters that's all about leveling up each other's hunting game. So the first thing you can do is like and subscribe, but even more than that, we got some fun things going on over at our website, huntxp.com. We'd love for you to join our community there and stay connected with what we're doing, what we're working on, and we'd love to hear about what you're after. So thank you for watching this video. We'll see you next time.